This is video 2, chapter 1, lesson 5 in geometry. We're going to start with the definition, and we're really going to break this down more than what might seem, than what appears to be here, because there's a lot of information bound up in this one statement. So two segments with the same length are congruent segments. Okay, in other words, if AB is equal to CD, notice that there's no segment symbol and it's just an equal sign here. What they're talking about here in this case, when they're equal, we're talking about the lengths of them actually being equal. The 2's are equal. That's what this means. This 2 equals this 2. If that's the case, this is saying, in other words, then here, notice the difference. This has a segment AB is congruent to segment CD. Notice I use the segment symbol, and I have a different symbol here, congruent. This symbol here means congruent. And these statements, while they're interchangeable, do communicate a couple of different things, okay? So if the lengths are equal, and that's what this is saying, this 2 that represents AB is equal to this 2 represented by CD, then you can say that the segment AB, this segment, is congruent to the segment CD, okay? So if we were to put this in our notes, and again we want to break this down, what does congruent mean? What does congruent mean? It means they're the same length, the same measure, which comes from equal, okay, so that's part of it, but they're also similar in shape, and that's what this squiggly line means here. And this is important because we're going to be using this sign later this year. We're going to begin talking about congruent triangles or congruent pentagons or congruent polygons, and then we're going to talk about similar pentagons, similar triangles. So there's a difference between equal and similar, but when we're talking about congruent, both of these are true, so you combine the symbol, and that's where this congruent symbol comes from. The lengths are equal, that's what the equal part means, and then they're also similar in shape. That's what the squiggly line means. So congruent means a couple of things, equal in length, but also similar in shape. Now, in geometry, we have these, I want you to notice right here, these two lines here. These are called tick marks. And what tick marks tell us, they communicate something to us. Notice over here we have 2 and 2, so we can look at the numbers and we can see that these are congruent because the 2's are equal. Here there's no number. So how do we indicate that they're equal? We use these lines, which are called tick marks, okay? Tick marks indicate that things are equal or things are the same measure, and they can be applied to segments most commonly. Angles, same thing. We have tick marks. They look a little bit different, but they're still called tick marks, okay? Now, one thing about tick marks, if tick marks indicate that it's the same measure, it's important that you have the same number of tick marks on each one. Okay, so notice we have 2 tick marks on AB and we have 2 tick marks on CD. That means that these two are similar or equal because they have the exact same number of tick marks. When we're looking at diagrams later on where we have multiple segments in there, some lines will have 1 tick mark, others will have 2, others may even have 3. So only the ones with the same number of tick marks are congruent. Okay, so a lot in that definition. I hope you got all that. Go ahead and this will end this video, and then we'll take a look at the postulate on the next one.